Hello and welcome to the Pastoral Center of the Archdiocese of Boston. I'm Scott Landry, Secretary for Catholic Media. This building became the home for nearly all of the Central Ministries of the Archdiocese in July of 2008 and gave us the opportunity to consolidate 7 buildings into one. As you enter our facility, you can see the flags of the United States, the state of Massachusetts, and the papal flag just outside. Entering into this beautiful lobby, you can see the crest of the Archdiocese of Boston. You can see the cross floret in honor of the cathedral and a reminder that the first Bishop of Boston and other early priests were natives of France. You can also see the 3 mountains in reference to the 3 hills upon which Boston was built and the original name for Boston, which was Tri-Mountain. At the base of the crest, you can see the Barry Wavy, which is an allusion to the fact that Boston is one of the most important seaports of the country and has been populated by people arriving from across the sea. We were blessed with this building because of the generosity of Tom Flatley. When Tom Flatley agreed with Cardinal Sean that this would become the new home for the Pastoral Center, Tom's eyes welled up as he told Cardinal Sean that God so blessed my business career that I'm now able to give my church its new home. What a very touching story. Tom unfortunately passed away about 5 weeks before we moved into this building, but his wife Charlotte and his children and grandchildren were here for the dedication. Tom Flatley was a daily communicant who was a benefactor to so many Catholic causes here in the state of Massachusetts and beyond. We're indebted to Tom and the Flatley family for giving us this wonderful pastoral center and for the many ways they continue to help the Catholic Church. The Pastoral Center has 4 floors, a total of about 140,000 square feet, and about 220 people work here, although it does have the space for about another 100. Almost all the Central Ministries of the Archdiocese are housed here with the exception of Catholic Charities, which remains in the city of Boston, and also Catholic TV, which built a wonderful new studio in Watertown behind St. Patrick's Parish the year we moved in. Each floor is about 35,000 square feet and varies between 50 to 100 staff members. Cardinal Sean named this chapel the Bethany Chapel because that's where Jesus would go to take rest with his friends Martha, Mary, and Lazarus. And the Cardinal was very involved in designing this chapel and implementing it. It was opened on October 1st, 2008, the feast of St. Therese the Little Flower. Let's go in. One of the distinctive aspects of this chapel is that we have beautiful stained glass windows that came all from closed churches in the Archdiocese of Boston, continuing the legacy of the sacrifice of those parishioners, including beautiful stained glass windows from St. Peter's in Gloucester. Another element of this chapel is that the crucifix, this beautiful crucifix, was taken from our old Chancery Chapel in Brighton. And one of the most unique aspects of this chapel is that the tabernacle is in the form of a Eucharistic dove. Cardinal Sean very much liked seeing a Eucharistic dove in Orthodox chapels in churches around the country, and he remembered that that was one of the main ways that early Christians housed the Eucharist to adore the Lord. Our chapel can seat about 125 people for Mass. There are 2 Masses here each day, an 8:15 Mass for Pastoral Center staff and a 12:05 Mass, which is open to members of the staff as well as the community. The 12:05 Mass is typically full, and we're glad that the Pastoral Center is a place that for both worship and for the work of the church. Like all churches and many chapels in the Archdiocese of Boston, the Bethany Chapel has a room for reconciliation or confession. The Sacrament of Penance is one of Christ's biggest gifts to the church, and that's why Cardinal Sean launched the Light is On For You campaigns in Lent and Advent. A priest is here every Thursday afternoon to hear confessions for both staff members and for those in the community. Over here, to remind the priest and the penitent of the loving mercy of God, we have a tapestry that reminds me of Rembrandt's famous painting, The Return of the Prodigal Son, where we see the loving Father receiving back the prodigal son. Just like God is there for us through the priest, to wanting to forgive our sins and welcome us home, regardless of what we've done. Just outside the chapel, we have this beautiful painting of Our Lady of Boston. The Cathedral of the Holy Cross had so many beautiful items of Christian art, but not enough space to display them. So Cardinal Sean took many of these beautiful paintings and icons here to the Pastoral Center. On the other side of the first floor, near the chapel, are the offices of the Pilot. The Pilot is the oldest Catholic newspaper in the United States, founded in 1829. And in 1908, it became the official newspaper of the Archdiocese of Boston. Here each day, and for 50 weeks a year, reporters like Justin Bell submit stories to be published in the Pilot. And each year, just the number of articles and things that need to be written fill a book this thick each calendar year. Also published here in the Pilot area is the Pilot Catholic Directory of the Archdiocese of Boston, an annual statistical survey of all of our parishes and all of the contact information of every single ministry in the Archdiocese, those that are housed here in the Pastoral Center, those that are housed at our parishes, and those that are housed in many other institutions around the Archdiocese. It's over 600 pages of great contact information. If you need to find out anything about the Catholic Church in the Archdiocese of Boston, this is the place to look. In addition to having the oldest Catholic newspaper in the United States, the Pilot also has an award-winning website called pilotcatholicnews.com. Also within our first floor south, we house the archives of the Archdiocese of Boston, which has a lot of sacramental registries here and many important artifacts of the Archdiocese's 200-plus year history. Again, Robert Johnson Lally, our archivist, keeps the place in tip-top shape. It's open each week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. For several of our bishops, all of their key correspondence is housed here in the archives, and it becomes an important part of historical research on the Archdiocese of Boston and the greater Eastern Massachusetts communities. We have the Sisters of the Divine Master who produce vestments for many of our clergy here in the Archdiocese of Boston. We have our radio studio, which we'll come back to, where we broadcast the Good Catholic Life every weekday from 4 to 5 p.m. on 1060 a.m. WQOM. And over here we have a wonderful gift to all the visitors here in the Pastoral Center, the Sisters of Divine Master's gift shop, which has a lot of religious imagery. People can buy crucifixes or rosary beads or holy water fonts and medals and jewelry and whatever you can find in your typical Catholic gift shop. One of the most important new ministries of our Catholic Media Secretariat is the Good Catholic Life radio program, which broadcasts every Monday through Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. on WQOM, 1060 a.m. Please join us for one of those broadcasts as we'll talk with local Catholic leaders and ministries, particularly focusing on priests who minister in our parishes and office directors here of the 55-plus ministries at the Pastoral Center. We also talk about Catholic teaching, explain it so that we all know it and that we can pass it on to other people. And we talk about national and local events going on in the life of our church. So please join us every Monday through Friday, 4 to 5 p.m. on 1060 a.m. or via WQOM.org. We're now on the first floor north, which houses a number of different ministries. The first is the Delegate for Religious's office. Sister Marian Batho, the Delegate for Religious, is the interface between Cardinal Sean and the Archdiocese with the more than 2,000 women and men who serve as consecrated religious in the Archdiocese, made up of so many different religious communities. We also have the Parish Financial Services Group, which helps parishes implement QuickBooks, help with their financial statements and budgeting, helps manage their revolving loan fund, and provides a lot of property insurance and risk management services. We also have the Real Estate and Property Management Services Group here on First Floor North, which helps work with architects and general contractors who are assisting our parishes on additions to their church or renovations to their parish center or a host of other projects for parishes and schools. One of the newest ministries here at the Pastoral Center as of September 2010 is Pilot Bulletins and Pilot Printing. We print more than 60 parish bulletins here each week, and we serve hundreds of parishes with printed materials. It's great for somebody who's going to come visit the Pastoral Center to know that they can put in a print order and a few days later come here when they were planning to come and just pick it up from our fine staff. Let's go check out the printing room now. One of the blessings of this building was it came with a very large printing room that wasn't needed by the Pastoral Center, so that it was easy for us to move the new pilot bulletins and pilot printing operations right in. And because the printing room is right off the great loading dock we have, it allows us to ship the bulletins out and receive all the paper that we need each week without disrupting any of the other ministries here at the Pastoral Center. All the social media for the Archdiocese of Boston, like our Twitter feed and our Facebook account, various websites for parishes and for Archdiocesan ministries, and a lot of photography and videography services to the many ministries and parishes and schools of the Archdiocese. And the other important ministries that happen on 1 South is our webmaster oversees bostoncatholic.org, the virtual home of the Archdiocese of Boston. All guests of the Pastoral Center can watch Catholic TV right here in our lobby. As we head up to the 2nd floor, we have photos throughout the building of all of our churches and chapels and institutions and many of the ministries, such as confirmation and preparing for First Communion and the Easter Vigil, and a beautiful First Communion image. And here in the 2nd floor lobby for guests, we have 4 computers that can be used during and between seminars to check email or to carry on some of the important business when they're away from their parish. And also here in the Pastoral Center, we have a wonderful memorial to the Holocaust to show our solidarity with our Jewish friends that used to be on our Brighton campus, and Cardinal Sean relocated it here to our Braintree Pastoral Center. Our 2nd floor is where we have most of our public meeting space, and half of the 2nd floor on the south side is Elena's Cafe, which provides great food for breakfast and lunch and a gathering space for all of our employees. Elena's is open from 7:30 to 11 for breakfast and 11:30 to 2 for lunch. And it has many wraps, sandwiches, and at least 2 meal specials each day. But most importantly, this cafeteria allows folks in various ministries to meet here informally to just talk about ministry or to talk about what's going on in our families or to just importantly put names with faces. As you exit Elena's cafeteria, right across the hall are our training rooms. We have a multi-purpose auditorium. Our multi-purpose room is used for several different types of functions, and it's usually taken every day from about September to about May for seminars, for trainings, and for many other uses, such as gathering school principals or Catholic school teachers or catechists in religious ed or leaders of religious congregations. Just as you can tell, it was used yesterday for a seminar room. 2nd Tuesday of every month, all of the Pastoral Center staff gather with the Cardinal and the Vicar General, and this room is set up theater style, and we can fit up to 180 people. Right next door to the auditorium is our computer training room, which is used to train, for example, business managers on our new QuickBooks application in the Archdiocese, or our development staff on new fundraising software. And the room can train up to 24 people at once. Across the 2nd floor is the Thomas J. Flatley boardroom. Cardinal Sean wanted to honor Mr. Flatley by naming one of the most important rooms in the Pastoral Center after Tom for his great gift of this building. And the Cardinal uses this room for his monthly meetings with the Archdiocesan Presbyteral Council, Pastoral Council, Finance Council, and Cardinal Sean's cabinet. The room can hold up to 50 people and is wired with the latest audio technology, so regardless of how many people are here, everybody can hear well. Also on the 2nd floor are the offices of the Metropolitan Tribunal. Father Mark O'Connell is the Judicial Vicar.
Hi, Scott. My name is Father Mark O'Connell. Welcome to the Metropolitan Tribunal. We keep this door locked because we have a lot of sensitive stuff in here.
Let's go in and take a peek.
The Tribunal handles anything that's judicial. It's the judicial branch of the Archdiocese, so that we do marriage cases, we do criminal cases, we do saints cases, we do anything that has canon law and is in the judicial realm.
And how many people work here at the Tribunal?
We have 11, some are part-time, some are full-time, but we have 11 that come every week.
And so when somebody visits the Tribunal, they'll often come to one of these meeting rooms?
There's a waiting room right here that they wait for us, but hopefully not too long. And then we welcome them into the tribunal. And there's meeting rooms for various hearings that happen. There's a kind of a courtroom down there. We have a library of canonical texts. We have an awful lot of files. We have files going back 100 years. We keep these things under lock and key for the entire time. And my office is hopefully open to anyone who needs me in this building.
The tribunal staff helps out the rest of the Pastoral Center in a number of ways, including Ellen from the tribunal staff, as you can tell, answers the phone from the Pastoral Center, and we'll stay live on that call.
Good morning, Archdiocese. One moment, please.
By ourselves.
Now you can see how it's done. And down the far end of our second north is the Pontifical Mission Societies, which are the Society for the Propagation of the Faith, Holy Childhood Association, St. Peter the Apostle Society, and the Missionary Union. And Father Kopp is the director.
Good morning. That's a mouthful, isn't it? That's 4 mission societies that we represent here in the Archdiocese, all of which are connected to the Congregation for the Evangelization of Peoples in Rome at the Vatican. So we're very happy to be here this morning. The 4 societies are probably not known to most people. The most popular, of course, is the Society for the Propagation of the Faith, which raises support, spiritual and financial, for 1,150 mission dioceses across the world. The Holy Childhood Association, which we are busy reviving here in the Archdiocese, is the educational component for children in Catholic schools and religious education programs. And Maureen Heil, who is our program director and office manager, is an expert in Holy Childhood, and we're busy getting out into the parishes to make the children aware of the program. Holy Childhood has components that will fit into every subject in a Catholic school: history, geography, math, English, and it's a pervasive and wonderful educational program. The Society of St. Peter Apostle supports mission education for seminarians and religious in mission countries. And we periodically raise appeals for the Society of St. Peter Apostle, and people, as they do for the Society of the Propagation of the Faith, are very generous. The Missionary Union of Priests and Religious is strictly spiritual. It does no fundraising at all. It is a group of, as it says, priests and religious who pray for the work of the missions, which is probably the most important thing that we do. Very often people will ask me, what do we do for the missions? What can I do? And the best thing that we say to them is, whatever else you do, whether you support the missions through enrollments here in the Propagation of the Faith office or Mass cards, prayer is probably the greatest thing that you do. So we're very happy to welcome you here and to give you some idea of what we do. We have some interesting artifacts in this office. In my office hangs the coat of arms of Richard Cardinal Cushing, who really put the Society for the Propagation of the Faith on the map in Boston. But out here, as people come into the office, we have a very precious artifact which belonged to the first Bishop of Boston, Bishop Chevres. This desk dates back to 1803 and actually still functions if you needed to have a surface to write on. It's designed to fold up and be carried. Chevres was a great supporter of the missions, and as a matter of fact, when he returned to France and became Archbishop of Bordeaux, we were a missionary diocese at the time and benefited from the generosity of the people of the Archdiocese there through the Society for the Propagation of the Faith.
We're now on our 3rd floor north, which is probably the most densely populated area of the Pastoral Center, as it incorporates all of our finance and accounting functions here, as well as all of our IT staff. Most of the books for our parishes and our schools are consolidated here with the general accounting of all of our central ministries. So the people work here really hard. Often the lights are on first here in the morning and on here latest in the evening. Now let's go see our wonderful data center. One of the neatest aspects of our Pastoral Center is this wonderful data center. The only tenant of this building before Mr. Flatley gave it to us was Boston Financial Data Services, and they needed a very robust and large IT room. And we were able to inherit it and leverage a lot of the great technology that they built. Let's go in and listen to some of the servers now. third floor south, which houses all of the ministries that support our priests, like the Clergy Personnel Office, or the Vocations Office, or that support our deacons, like the Office of Permanent Diaconate, and also many ministries that support outreach in the church to help our parishes, like our Office of Cultural Diversity, or the Office of the Deaf Apostolate, or the Office of Worship and Spiritual Life, and so many more. It's a varied floor here on the Pastoral Center, and I'm standing in a wonderful meeting space that they have, and many of our staff birthday party celebrations actually take place right where I'm standing now. Now, since we've seen the many public spaces here in the Pastoral Center, let's go see where the Archdiocesan staff work, starting with Cardinal Sean's office. Now we're here on the top floor of the Pastoral Center, our fourth floor, and right on the north side is the Cardinal's office, the Vicar General's office, and the Office for Development. As we enter Cardinal Sean's suite, one of the first things you see is his coat of arms. And you notice his Episcopal motto, Quodcumque dixerit facite, which comes from the biblical scene of the wedding at Cana, where Mary says to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." And in so many ways, that exemplifies Cardinal Sean's continual yes to what Jesus asks of him, first to become a Capuchin, then to become a priest, and then to become bishop of 4 dioceses, including the Archdiocese of Boston. And if you can see on his shield, on the right side of the shield, or left to the camera, are elements from the Archdiocese of Boston crest, the floret cross, the 3 mountains from the original name for the city of Boston, and then the wavy sea, which indicates how many immigrants came here by way of the sea. And then you see elements of his Capuchin Franciscan heritage, a ship from his O'Malley family shield, and then 3 stars, which signify Washington, D.C., where he was ministering when he was first called to be Bishop of the Virgin Islands. Cardinal Sean has 2 priests, 2 lay women, and a religious sister helping him conduct the business of his office. And he has most of his meetings in 2 meeting rooms. First, his conference room. For most of his meetings that don't require the large Flatley conference room, Cardinal Sean has meetings here. And taken from our chancery in Brighton when we moved here is a beautiful painting of our first Bishop of Boston, Bishop Cheverus, who came here in 1808. And over on this side, we also have a beautiful painting of the Crucifixion, which was in the Cardinal Suites in Brighton before we moved here to Braintree. Right across the hall from Cardinal Sean's conference room is his private office. It's simple, just like he is as a Capuchin Franciscan. He works here a few days a week when he's not traveling on behalf of the church out to parishes or meetings outside the Pastoral Center, or some meetings that he has at the cathedral. And most of what he has in here are gifts, including this tomahawk from Papua New Guinea. Cardinal Sean, when he was studying as a Capuchin Franciscan, thought that he would be sent to the missions, and he prayed that he would go to Papua New Guinea because it was the most remote and one of the toughest assignments of the Capuchin missions. As we move from the north side of the 4th floor to the central part of the 4th floor, this is where 4 important offices for the Archdiocese take place. The Chancellor, who functions as the Chief Business Officer of the Archdiocese, our Secretary for Communications, our Secretary for Health and Social Services, and then the Planning and Special Projects Office. And then on the south side of the 4th floor, we have many of our offices of religious ed and faith formation. Let's see some of those now. And as we move into the south wing of our 4th floor, this is where many of the formational offices, such as our Religious Education Office, our Catholic Schools Office, our General Counsel's Office, and so many of our Adult Faith Formation and Youth Ministry offices. As we conclude our tour of the Pastoral Center, I wanted to invite you to visit our virtual homes, bostoncatholic.org, facebook.com/BostonCatholic, twitter.com/BostonCatholic, or our video sites, youtube.com/BostonCatholic or vimeo.com/BostonCatholic. And on behalf of all of my colleagues here at the Pastoral Center, thank you for visiting with us today, and God bless you.